Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has lamented the escalating insecurity in Nigeria, stating that the country is bleeding and in dire need of urgent attention. In a statement released yesterday on his X account, Atiku condemned the recent spike in terrorist attacks, kidnappings, and banditry, which has left scores dead and many more displaced.
And specifically lamented the recent abductions of journalists, judges, and labor leaders and members of their families. Atiku's comments comes as Nigeria faces one of the most challenging security crises in recent history, with many calling for increased action from the government to protect citizens and restore peace. Now joining us to discuss this is Public Affairs Analyst Jide Ojo. Jide Ojo, thank you for joining us on, of course, the program this morning. Interesting times, once again.
Yeah, it is very interesting times. It leaves a sore taste in the mouth, and the more reason why people are scared living in Nigeria or coming to invest in Nigeria is because of exactly what you are talking about, insecurity. So many foreign investors want to come. They see the huge market potentials, but look at the Fuani brothers, the MD and the others who were kidnapped in Lagos, and only God knows how much they have to pay to secure their release. That is Lagos. Kaduna now has become hotbed. Yesterday, news broke that two journalists, the Nation's correspondents and that of Blueprint, were not only just picked, but with their wives and their children, and that's worrisome. Former NLC president, from what I gathered, also, and so nowhere is actually safe. And Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution of Nigeria talks about security and welfare of citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. So if the government cannot protect its citizens, it has failed. And that's why, what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said resonates very well with many Nigerians.
Jide,
this is very
can you say that we can avoid where we are, or we could have avoided where we are in terms of our insecurity challenges? Is there anything that could have been done different? Is it a function of the current administration? If maybe the current administration wasn't in office and any of the other parties or any of the other aspirants were in office, do you think that things will have been different in terms of our insecurity challenges?
I don't think so. Interestingly, we saw this, rising insecurity from about 2009, when Boko Haram, signature tune was made in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. 2009 to date, that was the era of what is his name? Former late President Muhammad, late President Musa Yar'Adua. That was when it started, the Boko Haram insurgency. Then it peaked during the period of Goodluck Jonathan. That was when you had the Chibok abduction in April 2014. And then under Buhari, that you thought was a former military general, former head of state, even his home state governor was crying that he could not secure his people. That's Katsina. So it's a accumulation. Anybody that says, Tinubu is not doing well, yeah, Tinubu may not be doing well, but it's an inherited problem that will not take that will take a concerted effort to solve. Unfortunately, the push factor that's making this to be appealing to those who engage in it is the economic downturn. Now, a lot of people are
Is it really about the economy, or just greed and, on the part of some folks to make quick cash?
It's a combination of both, Dakpo. It's a combination of greed. It's a combination. It's also, lack of, opportunities to be gainfully employed. There are so many narratives. There are those who went into banditry because they lost all they have to live. Some cattle rustlers took cattle of some people, and they felt the best way to avenge their losses to also start abducting people and making demands from them. And there are those who are in need for greed. In fact, there was a recent revelation. I don't know that for whether you read it or whether you saw the footage. There was a recent revelation where the commissioner of police in Zamfara said a district head was caught supplying drugs to bandits. A former member of Zamfara State House of Assembly and another former member of, former chairman of local government were also caught. So the man is lamenting that it's a criminal enterprise. It's a shared criminal enterprise. So, and it's a business that people have seen that it yields more reward than even investment in oil and gas. Because if you are able to apprehend people and they are able to cough out 100 million, 50 million, I don't know any business that you do that in 1 day, 2, 3, 5 days, you can make that much profit. And these people are not going to let go unless something drastic is done to stop them.
All right.
Now, it started like a religious thing in 2009, but now everybody is saying that irrespective of your religion, you could be a victim. Ordinary community grassroots people are being picked up. Peasant farmers are being picked up like snails. So everybody, nobody is immune from this virus called banditry now.
If we talk about the role that the current administration has to play in all of this, let's, beyond looking at the role that they play in handling insecurity challenges, let's talk about the economy, because you have said that a number of people resort into this, whilst we're not making excuses for wrongdoing or for crime, but it's a resultant effect of the terrible state the economy has found itself in, and people need to make ends meet. The current administration oftentimes would say that, they would act like they're not aware, or they would blame previous administrations. They will come and talk about the kind of economy that they met. Would you say that all the excuses they give, blaming previous administrations, that the excuse will hold water, especially because this administration oftentimes canvassed on coming to build on the legacy that President Muhammadu Buhari already started on?
My sister, the truth is that politicians campaign in petrol and deliver in cruise. So it's not uncommon to have them say all the platitudes that people want to hear in the lead up to elections during the campaign period. But once they get to power, they always indulge in excuses. But excuses are the tools with which the house of failure is built. If the situation is not checkmated, as it were, we may not have a country in the longer run. And aside from that, look at the economic loss. Look at a lot of divestment that is taking place in Nigeria now. Many multinational companies are selling off their shares and leaving Nigeria in droves, all because of not only the bad economic policies, but also because of insecurity. And, when you say ease of doing business, how do you measure ease of doing business without security? Okay, I want to farm. I have passion for farming. But if I go to the farm and I risk being abducted by bandits, will I want to indulge in that kind of suicidal mission? That's why you see a lot of people who are farming to keep this country fed. Many of them are leaving their communities and ancestral lands in droves and coming to city centers to come and do menial jobs, including riding motorcycles, commercial cycling. So we are all endangered. And don't let those who think, Abuja, they can hide in Abuja. Abuja is no longer safe. We that are living here, we also sleep with one eye closed. And just recently in my hood, about 20 people were picked up like snail overnight. So we all
Jide,
risk this whole thing.
Jide, just because
government to do the needful, yes.
All right, we press for time, but quickly, do you think that we have enough laws that can serve as deterrent? I'm also including, our judicial system, such that people who want to go into this would consider the consequences, of their action and maybe, stay away. Do we have structures put in place in terms of, our security architecture the judicial, parastater, and also the laws on ground to serve as enough deterrent for people to stay away from kidnapping?
What I will say straight outside the dark way is that we still need to retool our laws. We need to tighten the nuts and bolts of our laws.
I'm sorry. I know there was a time they were proposing death penalty for.
That penalty will not solve this problem. It has to be carrot and stick approach. Even if you decide to kill all bandits, look at how many of them have been apprehended by the soldiers and by the police every week. They are in hundreds. So in every month, they capture thousands. But many more are still going into it because water must find its level. Look at the harsh economic realities. People cannot feed. They cannot clothe themselves. They cannot pay rent. They cannot pay medicals. They do not have money to pay their children's school fees. So they are asking themselves, what am I living for? So, it's like die fighting. And although it's a criminal enterprise, which should be, but I believe that we can tighten the nuts and bolts of our laws and make it, expedite action for those who are caught. Let them be, quickly prosecuted. And if it is whatever punishment you want to mete out to them, that could serve as a deterrent. Situations where people are on a waiting trial for 5, 7, 10 years. For a crime that they may not even have to spend more than 5 years if they are earlier convicted. It's also antithetical to cost of justice. So it's an overhaul that needs to happen. But we need to deal with the economic factor, the economic push that's making people to take to crime as a means of livelihood.
All right, Jide Ojo, thank you for, of course, your contribution on Breakfast Central. Great to have you.
Always a pleasure. Have a great week ahead.